Good afternoon, Peter Racy here, Foundation Expo 88 YouTube channel. And this afternoon, what we're having a look at is two things. First of all, the contributions into the John Oxley Library that Sallyanne Atkinson made. And behind us, scrolling through, are the reference numbers and the pages. A beautiful plaque that was given to all the Expo 88 dignitaries by Sallyanne when they visited Brisbane and Queensland. And just an example of some of the rich collection of material that is sitting in Sallyanne Atkinson papers, and that in this particular case is the information in relation to the placement of the Pomodoros that you can see behind me now in King George Square. And not only are there these two pages that we've just seen, there are dozens of handwritten notes and other engineering reports, and it does make for very interesting reading. But included in all the paperwork, as you can see behind me, is what I thought when I was in Sallyanne Atkinson's garage sorting out the material, key information in relation to the genesis of the starting of Southbank. So Sallyanne Atkinson fought to secure the perpetual memory of Expo in the form of Southbank, and then had a real key input into the design parameters that saw Southbank launched back in 1992 from memory. So let's move on into an amazing collection of Artbuster material. Lindy Gottlieb, who worked at Artbusters during this critical period of time, has an incredible record of the creative process. So you can see behind us the photographs of some of the portrayal stances, and then these other photographs show other pictures of potential final scenes that were to be created from the artistic process. So it was more than simply body casts. It was about taking requirements, visual instructions from John Truscott, then interpreting those, as you can see, by photographic means, and then coming up with a package of body casts that then ended up, as behind us here, brilliant scenes at Expo 88. So again, conceptualization through to the execution of the final product. Quite an amazing process. So let's move on to the next bit. In this next bit, I thought it was worthwhile looking at three examples from the many that are sitting in the books and the paperwork. The first one, The Sad Clown, which is just quite a beautiful executed piece that I'm hoping eventually gets redisplayed. It's currently sitting in a warehouse somewhere in the Brisbane City Council. The next piece is Skater, part of the ramp that was at Expo 88, and this is currently sitting at the Murray Recreation Reserve. And that's just a beautiful save. The one immediately behind us is one, again, a work in progress, is sitting up at Kingaroy, and Councillor Danita Potter is in charge of ensuring that it is restored and it goes back out into the public domain. But just what an extraordinary collection of photographs that show the creative process of this particular piece. Really quite amazing. The next cab off the rank out of the collection is to be seen in a second. This next part of this YouTube is going to deal with the art of Central Australia, and Laurie Smith has done 3 or 4 interviews in relation to this particular piece of Expo 88, and this section just adds such great depth to the narrative. So here we are, we can see the poses, we can see the individual who ended up as the Artbuster person on that rock that Laurie Smith had to find out in Longreach area and had to be comfortable, which is, I just think, just quite a funny story in itself. And so we can see here, you know, the body cast coming off, how it's just been cut in half, front and back. And there, in this particular shot, is the art piece. That was a photo by Laurie Smith. And here is the piece that we just saw in the Artbuster studio. Just quite an amazing subsection that just adds into the world and memory of Expo 88. So let's move on to the final section in this little YouTube. Final section, we are going to talk about one of the Daytime Street Parade characters. And the designer of this, Paul Fitzgerald, worked in the Expo Authority itself, and then conceptualised this particular parade piece that then Artbusters built. And I had not realised until I saw these photographs, but this particular piece was so active as such when it was in the parades, because out of the beard popped these characters, these puppets. There were two people in this particular parade piece, and the hand-held puppets poked out, and then they interacted with children along the parade route. And I've only just got off the phone speaking to Lindy, who told me just how engaged and how pleased Artbusters were with the final result of this particular parade piece. And like so many of these pieces of history, it is just such a great shame that they've disappeared and are now not to be found anywhere at all. So that concludes this quite interesting YouTube, which again just simply documents the huge amount of material that's being collected by the John Oxley Library. Thank you for watching, and good morning.